So it's a bittersweet stories from the world of commodities. Right now, on the global front, Nigeria is gaining higher oil revenue because, or higher dollar revenue because oil prices is trending higher. The trade war between Washington and Beijing, with the Europeans in the middle, with their own headaches as far as what's the political situation in Germany, the migrants crisis, the NATO story. So it's all trade and what you call geopolitical fears. Oh, sorry, bring Brexit into the basket, and you have a conundrum for commodity traders and investors around the world scratching their head. In the middle of that, Nigeria is having a bit of a decent position when it comes to our dollar revenue. That's the upside. What's the downside? Prices of palm oil and rice and flour are rising. So we have a bit of a basket to discuss with you. Let's bring in Bolale Olutosin. She's live from our Lagos studios to bring us up to speed. What's making the headlines? What is good and what is not so good? One of the research analysts at Financial Derivatives Company. Good morning, and it's good to have you on the program, Bolale. This looks like good times, bad times. So let's go. What is burning? On the burning side, we're making money on crude oil. We were decent in June. Fire on. Well,
first of all, we have that crude oil prices are trading at about $78 per barrel. It actually declined by about 0.86% this morning. It's still very high compared to what we had seen, you know, in the past. So we're supposed to be excited about the price at $78 per barrel. Also, crude oil and condensates are reaching about 1.86 million barrels per day, as well as the fact that the rig count is declining, or has declined to 13 in June. And also we have that power generation has declined by 55%, or has increased, sorry, by 55% to about 3,500 megawatts, which is, you know, a change from what we had been seeing in the past few weeks. Also, diesel price has remained high, about 230 naira per liter. It's not great, but regarding what we've seen with oil prices increasing to about $78 per barrel, we don't expect diesel price to be declining at this time. We also have the fact that NNPC has signed about $3.7 billion deal or agreement with IOCs to produce more gas, so to create about 7 gas projects.
Yes, this looks like what is burning. But if we go back to the oil story, it's good news that we produced a bit of a higher crude and condensate last month. But this NNPC looking for new monies for new oil and gas, or what they call hydrocarbon projects, is very, very key. Any word on the street how soon we think this money will be coming in before we start losing more rig in our basket?
Well, the rig count specifically is more or less like a leading indicator. It actually shows you where oil production would actually lead to in the next few weeks. And, you know, when I mentioned about 1.86 million barrels per day, that's a combination of crude oil and condensates. By the time you remove condensates from it, which is about 200,000 barrels, that leaves us with only about 1.6. So technically, our production has actually declined over the past few months compared to the beginning of the year. So when you're looking at the NNPC story, it actually only really affects the power sector, because over the past few weeks we've had issues with power generation, majorly from gas constraints. So if they're talking about investing more within the gas aspects of things, it means that, you know, in the nearest future, which would obviously take some time, because saying now that you're going to invest in gas projects, it's a longer-term view. You're only going to, you know, get the money now from the IOCs, you know, sign a lot of contracts, which will obviously take some time. Now that the agreement has been signed, we understand that there's actually a movement towards, you know, creating more gas, or reducing the gas constraints within the power sector.
Okay, let's expand a little bit out of this commodity space into metals, where we have tin. We'll come back to a bit of a bad news in the domestic agri-products, but let's talk about tin a little bit. This is about $6 billion market worldwide. We're just scratching the surface with about 60 million US dollars in Nigeria's production. Play this out for us.
Yeah, tin is a very interesting commodity. It's actually not as important as other commodities that we've discussed so far on the program, but it's important to also look at tin because it's also one of the commodities where we actually do have the natural resources within Nigeria. Right now, we only produce about 1% of the global, production, which is not as significant. And right now, I think we're number 12 when it comes to world production, with China, Indonesia, Myanmar topping the production list. And when it comes to top production and also top consumers, we also have China, US, and Europe. But other than that, we also need to look at what's going on within the domestic economy when it looks at this tin production. I think right now the only listed company that actually sources for this commodity is Multiverse, and it seems like they actually dominate the mining sector when it comes to tin production.
Yes. I agree with you. I agree with you, Bolali, and I'm looking at, and our viewers can see that here at home and around the world. You're looking at the major producing states within Nigeria. I'm sure you see that Plateau State is the center of the major point for tin production in Nigeria. The city of Jos was one time called Nigeria's Tin City. It has since lost that name for so long I cannot remember. I'm not sure you remember as well. So. This is one major economic point that we lost.
Yes, it is. And it's so surprising that tin is actually used for so many products that we see, all around the economy. It's used for containers, it's used for cans, it's used in toothpaste, it's used in cans for baby products. It's used for so many things. It's used for crown caps. Although we've also seen a shift from, the use of glass bottle, which uses the crown caps, to plastic bottles. So that has been a downside to the use of tin. But other than that, we have a lot of products that actually use, tin, and it's an opportunity for a lot of companies to come into the market and explore, or tap into the value of tin within Nigeria. I think it's only Avon crown caps that actually, I think they dominate about 80% of the market share. So it's an opportunity for most businesses to tap into, definitely.